Hello. Hello, and welcome to my Hearthstone Let's Play series. This is Northstar. Hope you're well, taking care of each other, and being kind to yourselves. Really, look after the people around you. If you haven't, check out my YouTube channel page. You can find this series, which is the second series after the first one reached 210 views, which I decided was enough. It's time to create a second series and run in parallel to the first. This is my second series of Hearthstone, so lots of stuff you can discover of me playing Hearthstone. Some games you may not like, some episodes, sometimes the mood I'm in, sometimes the things I talk about, sometimes you might love it. Sometimes the game modes. I do Mercs, I do solo ventures, I do ranked, I've done a little battlegrounds, I'll probably do some arena in the future. Find what you love. But I'm exhausted with my long COVID. I really probably shouldn't be producing more stuff right now. I'm so tired. But, well, I shouldn't say shouldn't, but I'm going to pay a price with post-exertion ways later. I usually, if I push post-exertion ways, I get slightly more long-term productivity. I'll lose a little less productivity the next couple days than I gained with overdoing it, but I'll only come out like 1% ahead of my average. My long-term average is about 3 hours a day, and so this is get me like 1 or 2% more than that. You can do the math; it's very little. And there maybe 5. You get what I'm saying? It's like 5 minutes more on average when you do the numbers. Usually, is the point. It's very very little difference. So some of you may hear me often having talked about capitalism, and you may think it's ridiculous I blame the things in my life on it. But really, there are direct connections between things like why the welfare system in the United States is underfunded. Why... Is this a core card? I didn't expect this to be stared. It is. Why politicians don't listen to anyone, billionaires, and capitalism, which is not, let me remind you, it's, in case you didn't know this, it is not free market and people can buy and sell however much they want. No, that's not capitalism, that's market dynamics. There's a thing called market socialism. It has the same market dynamics, but it's socialist. The difference under market socialism is private ownership of business is forbidden. Everything is workers' cooperatives or state-owned enterprises that are relatively small, like owned by towns or maybe state government, but they're small in scale, and so most transactions aren't within a state enterprise and its departments. They're, things being bought and sold at market prices. Market socialism exists. Look it up. The Internet Encyclopedia of Philosophy for a long time had an excellent article on it, and though with the Trump MAGA fascist censorship of the internet getting worse, maybe it's gone at this point. I doubt it. It'll be a while probably before they delete this. It's a relatively obscure thing, but it's very, very good articles on market socialism, century plan socialism, the spectrum between the two, because it's not, like even quote market capitalism often has an element of planning and an element of state intervention and state ownership. Like people say police, education, hospitals, when they're public hospitals, roads, they say this is socialism. No, actually it's not. That's incorrect. Anyone who tells you that doesn't know what socialism is. That is state capitalism because it's owned by the state, these services, and the state is owned by the billionaire class. For it to be socialism, the state has to be controlled by the workers, by the masses of people. It's not. You and me do not control the government in the United States. A handful of rich donors control the government. So it is state capitalism when the government owns things. For it to be socialism, the government have to be controlled by you and me. However, it's not 100% state capitalism because the government isn't 100% controlled by billionaires. It's like 99% of the power lies in their hands. There have been studies on the degree to which decisions politicians make correlate with opinions of the very wealthiest, like multi-millionaire Americans, versus the rest of the population, versus special interest groups, which are mostly just mouthpieces for the billionaires, except for trade unions, which get lumped in with them. And they found the only way that ordinary people have any political power at all is through trade unions, where there's everything else is statistically insignificant, the correlation. So if you're in a union, you might have a little political power, otherwise you have nothing. People complain about unions being too powerful, but they actually have very little power, and you have zilch without them. So too much power it is apparently any power at all over the government, according to those people who are usually mouthpieces to billionaires and don't like that ordinary people even get a tiny slice of the political power in society by being part of trade unions. Even then, only if the trade union is aggressive enough and willing to strike and stuff about things other than just wages, political stuff, which has a gray legal status, like holding a general strike over ICE. But that if a trade union organizes that strike, it might actually have that's the part of how the general strikes for ICE have actually been large enough to have an impact right now, is because trade unions have been involved in organizing them. Gray legal status, but it works. Just looking for cards to add to this deck, and I'll be going and doing some ranked games in a second. Anyways, because I've been talking too long. Capitalism is very much responsible for creating the billionaires who buy the government, who are then responsible for creating all the problems I've experienced, because a lot of the government's problems in my life can be traced directly to government not representing the will of people in the United States, to the social security system being poked full of holes, and the bureaucrats finding every excuse to deny legitimate disability cases, for instance, because the billionaires have all the political power and they're able to control Social Security, therefore, because they end up controlling who gets hired and fired from the Social Security Administration. Political appointees, the people oversight, they get witch hunts against leftists in the government. There's various ways they control who's in charge. The police have not adequately protected me against my psycho roommate who wants to murder me because of a chronic cough I've had since I was a child. That is a direct reflection of the police. Sorry, I'm looking at the Maze Guide card for a second. That is a direct reflection of the police only really existing to protect the property of billionaires and suppress dissent and protest most of the time. Sometimes, incidentally, they solve some crimes. As you know, a fig leaf, an olive branch to ordinary people, because they can't be protecting the property of billionaires all the time. But the real reason that they get any funding at all, instead of the rich defunding the police, like the rich defund every other government service. Have you ever thought about this? But they never want the police budget to get cut. In fact, they'll pour money into police while they're cutting every other government service. The reason for that is because the police will beat the protesters and people protest the austerity they force and everything else. And the police will prevent people from organizing mass movements that grow powerful enough that they might threaten to institute socialism, have a socialist revolution, which revolutions can be violent or peaceful, and usually violent because the rich use violence on the revolutionaries first, and the revolutionaries respond with violence. Like, ICE is out murdering people. If people start getting violent in return, it will have been ICE that started. I'm not condoning violence. It's horrible. It should not be done. But I'm explaining usually violence is perpetrated first by the state, and then people react to it. And they may overreact, and they may be vengeful, and they may do things they shouldn't have done. But it was usually the state that started it, is how these things actually have historically worked. That was even the case in the Russian Revolution. That formed the Soviet Union. The state marched in with first the army, and the army refused to shoot the protesters and actually handed over their weapons to some of the protesters and let them into an armory. And so then the Tsar, the absolute monarch, brought in basically death squads of police, and they started murdering the socialist revolutionaries, and the socialists who had already armed themselves, because the army let them into an armory, responded with violence to the police, and they took control of the government buildings, they took control of the levers of the state, and they formed a Soviet Workers' Council locally in, I think it was like the first couple cities like Leningrad and Moscow, and well, it's just St. Petersburg and Moscow, which got renamed Leningrad because Lenin was one of the 4 founding fathers of the Soviet Union. And then after that, other cities that were discontent started copycatting, and Soviets popped up all over, and then they said they were going to band together and form political organizations. It didn't go straight to the Soviet Union. That was actually named to honor that early history that came a few years later. There was initially a republic phase that lasted a little while, and there was a battle between the Social Democrats and the Socialists and the Monarchists, and then the Monarchists started using violence, and the Social Democrats weren't willing to tamp down the violence. And this is part of what led socialists to saying that Social Democrats were just the moderate wing of fascism, and that in what happened in Germany and in the 1930s. And anyways, yeah, it was a lot of it. It didn't happen overnight, is the point. People think it did because the history books falsely portray it that way, because then they get to avoid talking about the complicated history what actually happened that doesn't look so good for the rich people and the Tsar, because there's a lot of people who want to revise history and act like the Tsar wasn't a murderous piece of trash and like he was somehow a benevolent ruler of a golden age before the socialists, and that's a lie. Circadia Master. Out of random 8 cost mini drain at the start of your turn, reduce its cost by 1 at the start of your turns. So I'm assuming that modifies. So it's a card draw, and after a couple turns, it's already kind of paid for itself. I'm tempted to put this in a slower burn deck, and this is actually one of the slower burn decks they have. Let's see. Giving a card Dark Gift is probably Infinite Crusader Aura. What would I give up for this? Maybe the Infinitizer. The Infinitizer could potentially be 7/7, but at this cost, it's already like giving 5/5. The 8 cost in like 4 turns. No, it would take like 6 turns for it to really come out ahead of the Infinitizer. It does eventually, but no. What else can I add in? Good old Nexus Prince Schaffer. At times, this can be very powerful, especially if you can duplicate a minion. There are things where you summon exact copies or something. Living Paradoxes with Elusive. You just need to find the right clone to pin this all on. It's an Across the Timeways card. It's not bad. Righteous Protector does buy some time, but this, although it's vulnerable to crowd control. Problem is it costs 3. Normally for 3, might get 4 attack. But does synergize hard with the Crusader Aura, that's for certain. No, I don't think so. Raid Leader, Portal Vanguard. Stone Island Defender. That's a infamous delay card. Sandmaw. It's a card that demands a response, but almost anything can take it down. Undercover Cultist has 5 attack the second time an enemy dares to deal with it. It's a good delaying card. Is it better on the Righteous Protector? Maybe. It's not like I have a Blood Knight in this deck. Yeah, like the Righteous Protector can always take 2 hits before it's dead, and actually it's more resistant to removal cards that don't do damage, just kill. Additionally, it can deal more damage to enemies. Yeah, I think I could regret this, but I think I'll do the Undercover Cultist instead of the Righteous Protector. Alright, that's all the changes I'm going to make to this. Wait, this is a Lost City of Unguru. How is this? That can't be standard. Can it? Did I just accidentally invalidate? It's still standard.
Find a seat if you can.
I thought Lost City of Unguru wasn't. Okay, whatever. Must be missing something. So anyways, yeah. So police and courts not protect me from the psycho roommate who wants to murder me. And probably will if I return the apartment still there. And the landlord doesn't get rid of him.
Uther versus Jaina.
Government fighting my disability case of bad faith.
I will fight.
Not enough money for medical research. Opening up the country early, doing the long hope. These things all directly tie back to capitalism, to it as it evolves. It always leads to austerity, to funding cuts for important things like medical research, and of course, not keeping things shut down long enough during pandemic, because then you'd have to give people money to help them survive, and that would cost the rich money ultimately because they would have to pay higher taxes. So yeah, this might actually be usable earlier than turn 4 if I get a lower cost hoist. Nope. Darn it. Bad draw. So yeah, it's all connected, and we do need a better system. I don't love the Gnomish Aura, but it's necessary. Goes along with Goblin of Tomorrow. The Fabled card, so I have to take that even though I don't like this card. I can trade it though. Let's trade it.
Job's done.
And it's a little better. Cardboard Golem. Divine Brew is holy, so I can actually do that right into the Holy Glow Sticks. And then it comes right back. It just got rid of you. Go away.
Reporting for
Job's
duty.
done.
I literally went right. It just stuck it right on the top of my deck, unless there wasn't. That was the other copy. I think there's only one in the deck, so no, it just stuck it right on the top. That's annoying.
Ooh, a time loop! I love
You kidding me? Draw 3 cards. When you play all 3, get another card. That's ridiculous. And it's a legendary, of course, so it's not like something I'd ever be able to get my hands on. really going to hate the legendaries.
Let me think.
Played the 3/3, it would just get. Well. No. I have to play it at some point. Well, I could play one of these and Divine Brew so I could Holy Glow Sticks
I must move quickly.
next turn, and that's smarter. So this is not a card I would normally want to do this to. It really doesn't matter which I do it. That did allow me to consider if I should just attack the minion and make it look like I was considering it too. Which is important. Are you kidding me? You just happen to land something that's really great like this.
I wonder.
You've done it this turn.
To battle!
Attack and draw, I guess.
For justice.
Of course, the Geblin does always play stuff that's from the deck, not in my hand, so I'm going to treat you to trade down those auras. Are you... what? Divine Brew isn't a... Divine Brew is a paladin card. A mage shouldn't have it. It wasn't created by something. I'll check this in a sec. I'm quite certain he just played something that was outside his class, therefore hacking.
I wonder. I must move quickly.
Reporting for duty.
Yep, that's Paladin Oli. He's a hacker. He just played a Paladin card. He didn't create it with anything. He unless Time Warper Toki can create it. No, because it's cards from the past. Or does it mean cards that were played in the past?
Let me think.
Maybe by from the past it means when I played, but then it should have said generated by Time Limber Toki. I very good chance he was hacking. I'm sorry, but
I must move quickly.
To battle! To battle!
Find me in the dream.
Illusory Greenwing? Isn't this another out of class card? Check that in a second. He's just played a second out of class card with no explanation. I'm just gonna. I could send in the future now, or I could let him be a 3/5.
I must move quickly.
Kind of want him to play something else so I can use it. No.
Mistakes of the past rewritten.
Illusory Greenwing. That's neutral. Fine. So that one isn't evidence
What's
of
your
hacking.
dream destination?
Alright. So certain classes usually see it. But the cards in the past, I'll look up the mechanic, but if it was supposed to be from past versions, that doesn't make sense. And it was outside the class. After you discover Tutman, after you gain armor, reopen this. What the heck? Created by travel agent. Aren't many ways to create armor as a mage. And use the Divine Bruin himself. Never even occurred to me to do that before. Just happens to have a mirrored mage, right? It's kind of an optimal situation for attacking minions, because
This time, mortal.
I must move quickly.
whoops.
For justice.
Do this.
Reporting for duty.
Still gonna attack his hero. Oh, come on. Frustrated by... Ugh. Pointless not to break the Divine Shield.
as an oath.
Find me in the
He didn't gain armor, so how did he reopen this? Does after you gain armor reopen this? Or maybe it's just warriors skip twice. I don't see anything that...
Let me think.
This time,
This is not what we stood for.
It just opens repeatedly.
Eight combatants enter, and I take the crown.
Came back. Oh yeah, I remember I sent it for a time. Of course he has Bob the bartender now.
Relaxation for all, and all thanks to me.
I wonder.
Try this one. He wouldn't know what I drew.
I must move quickly.
I'm worried about pulling some crowd control nonsense that is rear.
Reporting for duty.
If he doesn't, accept that.
I found a sea urchin!
The heck? That doesn't make sense. It waited. It's supposed to. Shouldn't try and generate the origin stone, and when he doesn't have the space in his hand, it should have like. That just. Oh. How did he get those? Just happened to get. Both those.
I wonder.
generating infinite holy power.
move quickly.
Sands of time!
Take a load off.
This time,
Reporting for duty.
You at least have to give up Bob to get that done.
I can't turn this around. Oh.
draw forth your end.
Let me think.
Doesn't have any huge minions right this second.
I must move quickly.
It's spreading! Setting stone!
That one missed just one.
Freaking counter spell.
All are nourished when the cycle renews.
Fools! You cannot outrun infinity!
How did he play 2/9 costs? Oh, this card plays other. Arrgh. This whole bloody deck is based on that one thing.
8 combatants enter, and I take the crown.
I must move quickly.
So freeze the shop. Really nothing else to do. Bob the Poisonous, I guess.
Reporting for two.
I ain't talking. Wrong kind of genius. Unleash his pig.
Right, he had a dirty rat. Then. No, he's hacking. Hacking, and of course, it's a powerful deck, but. I mean, dirty rats exist, but just the odds of this. He's a hacker. Had enough of him. co-op, destroy Time Thief for fun, or any of his Time Waste versions. What? Alright, spells from the past. Cards outside the current rotation. Yeah, he played... It's not a card that was a spell that was played earlier. He played Holy Brew, a Paladin only card, as a mage, with no valid explanation. He was a hacker. I mean, the easiest thing for a hacker is to just see the card ID of whatever I played and just copy it. That's what he did. I played a Divine Brew. I'm a Paladin. I have access to those, legit. That card is not wild only, so it's not a card from the past. It is not in his class, and it was not created by any other card. He cheated. He is a cheater. Here's going to be an amusing thing. If he accepts that, I'll ask him, how did you play a Divine Brew? That's not in your... That was not a class card. he won't accept. Guarantee it. But... Right. There was that win streak, but I know that I did not lose freaking legit match there. You can't play Divine Brew as a mage. It's not in your... It's Paladin only. It is Paladin only. And it's Perils in Paradise. So, Perils in Paradise, folks. Made sure I wasn't just misunderstanding the card mechanics. Is currently part of the standard set. So it's not a card. It's not a card from the past. He's a cheater. He cheated right from the beginning, and then the card draw luck was incredible. But the card that there's no way he should have been able to play, that there's no rule that allowed him to play that card. That's the obvious proof of hacking. So, folks, report this person. Mionia1447. They're a hacker. I'm sure all my reports will be ignored. But... Alright, well, I wish you all the best. Viewers, take care of each other. Be kind to yourselves, and may you always find guiding star lead you. Until next time, it's Northstar. Adieu, and best of luck to you all.